are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for adventure.
Welcome to the Marriage Adventure Podcast, where we help couples connect with Christ and each other. And we're your hosts, Daniel and Bonnie Hoover, and we're so glad that you've joined us on this episode. And today we're talking about 5 small gestures that help keep your connection to each other very, very strong.
Yes. Bonnie, when did I love you turn into, hey, did you switch the laundry over?
I know.
I mean, it seems like the longer you're married, romance in marriage just gets buried under kids and chores and Netflix and doom scrolling and all the stuff.
Yeah. Well, we've been married. We're coming up in June on 30 years. So we've been together for 30 years. And, you remember the early days and all the sweet romantic times and all the good,
It was easy.
Yeah, it was really easy. It just was so natural.
Before kids, it was easy.
I know. And over time, I mean, we just get stuck in the mundane. We can get busy with life. We roll through things and we just get, we get on mission with stuff that we want to accomplish, and we become these great teammates and we get stuff done. And if y'all are like us, you probably you divide and conquer and you get all the things done, and you talk a lot about, all right, where are we going to get the kid? Who's going to get the kid? One kid to this and one kid to the other. And hey, we have a lot of the logistical meetings in our communication, but sometimes it's like, okay, well where'd the romance go? And
yeah.
I think recently we hit one of those things where, like, hey, we're a little bit disconnected here. Let's reconnect. So we figure if we've dealt with this, that you probably have too.
Yeah, and so Bonnie mentioned our mission at the Marriage Adventure a minute ago. It's helping you guys stay connected to Christ and to each other. And so, so if you've been feeling disconnected romantically, and I mean that includes intimacy, romance, sex, all of that, and you felt more like roommates than soulmates, then this episode is going to be something I hope you'll enjoy, or hopefully you'll glean a lot from. So, Bonnie, I want to ask you, you just kind of hit on it, but why does this happen over time? Why does this romance become just adulting, I guess?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, it's that. I mean, so a lot of times when you're starting a relationship, I remember reading the book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman back when we first got married, and he talks about a stage early in the beginning of it is called limerence, and he says that limerence is that it's almost that I can't help it. It's that magnetic attraction you have to the person where you want to talk to them all the time, you want to be with them all the time. It goes beyond just the sexual attraction. I mean, there's part of that to it, but it's all the things. It's like, this person gets me. I want to be with them all the time, and that's all you think about 24/7. And
it's not a voluntary thing.
No, you don't choose that. You just almost can't help it. You're driven to it.
Yeah.
And it lasts somewhere between 1.5 to 2 years, and sometimes longer for some couples, sometimes not as long. But over time, the chemical process that's happening in your brain that's drawing you to the person, it just starts wearing off.
So every Hallmark movie or rom-com movie you watch is
about
that stage.
For sure.
The meetup, the cute meet.
Yeah, meet cute.
Meet cute,
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I just heard meat and I started thinking about chicken wings instead. I don't know.
Right. Well, and that's the romantic, sweet, sappy part that we all love about that. And I think that's one of the reasons women are drawn to those movies, because there's just something so sweet about that stage.
I'm not going to lie. I love a good football game. I love a good action flick where a lot of people die.
Oh, that's terrible.
I don't mind. Well, it's just in the movies.
Oh.
I don't mind a good rom-com, though.
I know.
I like a good rom-com. Now, it's got to have calm. It's got to be funny.
Right.
It can't just be,
I know.
But I do.
I don't know that they make as many great ones as they used to.
No, the 90s. The 90s.
Yes.
80s were known. The 80s was known for the action hero. The 90s was known for the rom-coms.
They were great.
They were great.
Yep. So, but anyway, sometimes we get into that stage, like 1.5 years, 2 years in, or maybe in marriage, because sometimes it comes back up. The romance ramps back up when you get married, and oh, this is all new and all the things, and then life starts hitting little by little, and it starts fading again, and you have to choose at this point to love the person. And a lot of couples think at that point, what's wrong with us?
All right, so you just said you have to choose. Well, now you're into the stage of life where there's a lot of choices.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of choices that are the urgent, important choices that are pulling at you in the moment.
Yes.
Like job, laundry, screaming kids, all the stuff that you have to do.
You have to attend to it.
Right.
You have to. And so it's easy for a couple to get to that point and think, what's wrong with us? We just don't, I just don't feel the same way about you anymore. And sometimes maybe people call it sometimes the 7-year itch. You get into that and you're like, the feeling's gone. I'm not into this anymore. So what happens? Oh, there's a problem in the marriage. We just aren't meant for each other because all those lovey feelings aren't there anymore. And a lot of people bail at that point. But that's a normal stage.
Yeah.
It's normal to get to that point where some of that stuff, some of the ooey gooey feelings, the lovey dovey stuff starts wearing off, and you're not going to feel it. I'm sorry if you're just newly married or you're I'm sorry that
it will happen.
But no, it's okay.
Yep. And it actually leads to a deep, if you do the right thing, it leads to a deeper, better love.
Yes.
Right. So are you saying that this really needs to be a mindset shift?
Maybe.
Within us?
Yes, because, and let's go back to what marriage is. This is not just a when I feel good relationship. This is a covenant that we've made with each other. And so you're going to hit some hard times. It's the for better or worse. Well, we love the for better is all the romantic stuff. The for worse is when life happens and you have to do the hard thing and die to yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
And we live in a society that thrives and lives off of dopamine hits, right? And so
that's why we're connected to our phone.
That's right. And so the phone is designed to release a quick connection chemical, the dopamine, search, all of that. And so we don't want to put in the work,
right?
And so, what we're talking about here, this mindset shift, is you've got to put in work. It's easy to fall in love. You can't help it.
That's right.
And so, and
it feels good.
Yes. But like we've said before, love isn't enough to keep you married. Grace keeps you married. Work keeps you married.
Yeah.
And working on your relationship, and that's not sexy. That's not exciting.
Oh no.
But it's kind of like sports. I love college football. Right. We love college football. And so early on, like in the early part of the season, man, the hype is real. Like I'm watching all the, when it gets into the summer, I'm listening to all the podcasts. I'm not one of those guys that I try to have balance in it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think you do.
I don't nerd out like our 14-year-old. And I've told him, I said, enjoy the season because you don't need to be this nerdy about all sports when you're married in 20s. It's just not good for your relationship. But anyway, but the hype is real. But the great teams don't rely and win on hype.
Right.
They win on fundamentals, or they win on the process. When they stick to the process, when they stick to the fundamentals, even deep into the season, when the hype is gone, or when they've lost a game, stick to the process. And that's really the championship teams, right? The teams that win.
Well, and I think it's important to remember that romance doesn't die because your love is fading. It dies when we stop pursuing each other. And the thing is, we don't have to settle. We don't have to settle for dead romance and just accept that this is it and this is where we're going to stay forever. And we're going to talk about that in just a second.
If you're like us and most people, you're always on your phone scrolling reels and stories. Well, instead of just mindlessly doom scrolling, check out our weekly marriage coaching. Every Monday afternoon, we drop a new, short marriage coaching video on YouTube. These concise tips and biblical insights will help you reconnect with Christ and your spouse all week long. Well, if you're loving this podcast, you'll love these bite-sized practical videos. So look at The Marriage Adventure on YouTube and give your marriage 10 minutes this Monday. I guarantee you'll feel the difference. All right, so Bonnie, you said something really interesting there before the break, that romance doesn't die because love fades. It dies when pursuit stops. And it kind of goes to that the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's greener because they do what?
They water it.
They water it.
They sow more seed.
That's right.
They take care of it.
They do the work. It's all the same soil. Your yard and their yard, same soil. Probably the same exact grass that they put down when they built the homes, but they take care of it. They do the work. They pursue a healthy lawn, right? And I think that was a great statement you said, because I think that's so true in marriage. What we pay attention to wins, right?
That's
so
a good way to look at
we
it.
can have the cleanest house. We can do all the laundry. We can do all the stuff. We can have all the kids that are in the sports stuff and excel in those things. Can we have it all?
I've heard you tell the kids before, you can have everything you want, but just not at the same time.
You can't have it all, and you can't have it all at the same time.
Right.
That's right. And so some things got to give.
Yeah.
Speaking of rom-coms, I think that was the name of a rom-com movie. Something's got to give somewhere along the way. And so we're probably going to have to say no to pursuing some things to say yes to pursuing a deeper, richer connection with our spouse.
Well, and connection with your spouse is so important. It's one of the foundations of this home we have together, because our kids, when they sense we're connected, it gives them some security.
Yeah.
So let's talk about just what connection. Let's understand connection a little bit better.
Okay. So how do men and women connect? Because I think we connect differently, don't we?
I think so. I mean, women thrive on that emotional closeness. We want to understand the person's heart. We want you to pursue us in a way of, hey, we want to be known, and that's why we like to go out and have coffee with people and sit down and talk face to face with people. But men feel close in other ways.
Yeah, a couple of ways men feel close. And it's this way we experience friendship is shoulder to shoulder, right? Doing things together. That's why men go golfing together, go hunting together. Men do projects together. And
it's physical.
It's physical. We're shoulder to shoulder. We hang out. We may not say a lot, but we just kind of hang out. We spend time doing that. And then another way, men often express connection or feel connection through physical intimacy.
Well, that makes sense. They like to physically go out and do stuff, or they like to physically connect with their spouse.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that's dismissed as not real. They just want to have sex.
But it's a connection.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to undermine or invalidate that connection, because it's a God ordained connection that Scripture says within marriage, have sex and have it a lot.
Except for, only take a break for having, for fasting and prayer.
Yeah, that's kind of what Scripture
and then it says come back together so that you won't be tempted.
That's right. So we do have to be careful to not just say, oh, well, they just want sex all the time, because yeah, that's true. Men do want sex all the time, but that's a form of connection.
Is the dopamine bonding.
Yes.
Because there's the chemicals that are released in that act, it really bonds you together. So it is a form of connection. But it's harder for women sometimes to just have the physical act if they don't feel emotionally connected, because it's the both and. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Bonnie. We talked about adulting. We talked about life, the mundane. How hard is it for a female to physically connect in the act of sex when there's adulting to be done?
Well, I've heard you say it's kind of like all the tabs are open on your computer until all those tabs are closed. I keep a running to-do list, and as long as I've got that to-do list full, I can't think about anything else but getting that stuff done. And so for me, it's really hard for me to shift gears and start thinking in a sensual way if I've got all this stuff I've got to do. And so it's difficult for me to just shut all that down and say, okay, I'm going to shift gears now, and let's let's talk about physical intimacy, and connect in that way. It's difficult.
So if a guy's watching Sports Center all the time, playing video games all the time, and all of a sudden his wife's running around doing all the stuff in the house and getting stuff done, and there's laundry, and there's kids are going crazy, and he's not engaging, it's probably not going to connect sexually.
Probably not. But think about that. If she's running around doing all the things, she is not relaxed even a little bit, which is very important for the sexual act. The man might be relaxed because he's playing video games and doing the things.
True.
It's like he's got plenty of relaxation going on in that situation.
And some guys can just pause life, have sex, get back to it. That's not the case for women, is it?
No, not at all.
No. So, guys, we need to engage with our wives. If we say that sex, foreplay starts in the morning, right? So when you get up, help your wife. Help your wife get all the stuff done so that tab on that browser can be closed. And so help with the kids, help with the laundry, lighten her load, take something off her plate. Say, hey, listen. You do that, I'll just start doing that, right? If you see something laying around that needs to be done, she doesn't have any more time than you do. So just do it, get it done. That helps her, and guess what? That's going to help you too, because now you're creating margin for connection.
Well, and I don't think that this is all even just primarily about the sexual connection either. This is about the emotional connection, which you said it comes through the sexual thing too. But here's the thing. I think God has put this thing in women, and maybe in men too. I think we want to be pursued. God pursues us. And at the end of the day, the marriage relationship, you see in Ephesians 5 that the marriage relationship is intended to be a reflection of the relationship between Christ and his bride. So it's not just that. I think it's God's like, hey, I want you to understand the relationship that I have with my church. So I've given you marriage as an institution to help model that. The problem is the enemy has come in and it's broken that. So we don't understand that connection with God as well, because our connection with our spouse is broken a lot of times. But at the same time, in the relationship we have with Christ, we're going to have those mountaintops and we're going to have those valleys. In our marriage relationship, we can expect we're going to have those heightened sense of connection where we're on those mountaintops with each other, and then we're going to hit the dip where it's like, we just feel disconnected. It does mirror the relationship we have with the Lord. And my mom told me one time, she said, I think marriage is falling in love with the same person over and over again. It's, we fall in and out of love because life hits and it's like, we just get in the mundane and we forget. We lose that connection is basically what she said. But it's intentionally falling back in love with that person again rather than seeking somewhere outside of the relationship and someone outside of that relationship to fall in love with.
Yeah, if you want to be married to something different, just wait a few years because your spouse will be different. They're going to be a totally different person because we're always changing. So we promised you guys at the top of this podcast we'd give you 5 small gestures that can help reconnect you guys. So we want to do that now. So here's the first one. Use words that pursue. Bonnie, why are words so important in a marriage relationship?
Well, words create safety. And the way we can either feel safe with a person by the things they've said to us, or we can feel unsafe. And I don't feel connected to someone that I don't feel safe with. And if the encouragement, you think about the person that you most want to be around. They're those people you're drawn to because they're building you up. They're encouraging you. They're complimenting you. They're appreciating you. You want to be with those people. But if someone's nagging you and putting you down and always calling into question your motives or the things that you're doing, or saying something's not ever good enough, you kind of withdraw from that person.
Yeah, safety shuts us down. When we feel unsafe, it shuts us down. It locks us up, and we're withdrawn. But when we feel safe, we relax.
Yeah,
we
and we can open up.
And so when we use words that pursue, I like that you feel safe. And so some examples of those pursuant words, it's just compliments, right? Man, men and women love to be, guys like to be told we're nice looking too, right?
Yeah.
And so compliment your spouse, compliment them on how they look or what they've done. Appreciation. It was really funny. I was watching last night. I couldn't go to, we're laying in bed. And so I was watching. You had drifted off. And we don't do this often, but every once in a while, if I'm not tired, I'll turn on, a TV show. And usually it's a sitcom, and I'm falling asleep by the end of it. But it was Everybody Loves Raymond, right? And so he's husband. He's someone to model your marriage after, right?
Right.
And so anyway, she had given him the checkbook to take care of. And so he gets into a mess with it, obviously, and the power gets turned off and all that. So at the end of the show, she takes it back over. She's frustrated with him. She's angry with him. And he said, I just really appreciate you doing this and doing the checkbook and keeping the finances and being the adult.
Yeah.
And she said, thank you. I think that's I don't know that I've heard that. I think one other time. And so it meant, in the show, she said that makes it all worth it.
And you're right. It does. I mean,
Yeah.
so our words matter. So the second small gesture is create tiny moments of physical affection. It's the touch. It's the walking by. I know sometimes you'll walk by and just kind of you do it. I think you do it more to get on the kids' nerves than you do you'll pop my butt and they're like, why'd you do that? Or,
They love it.
Yeah, stuff like that, or just a hug, or it's the
Bonnie,
small.
you don't understand. If I don't do that, then I'm not a man. It's written into our DNA
Okay.
code. We have to slap the fanny.
Okay,
We
good
have
to.
to.
I mean, I guess I see even guys do that on football fields, slapping the fanny.
I can't speak to that.
But it's those small gestures, and it just it keeps your heart soft and connected. And everybody's not a physical touch kind of person.
No.
Not everybody likes that, but just grabbing that person's hand, it just says, you know what, you're still mine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I still claim you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people, I mean, even in public, I think sometimes that grabbing that hand, it makes a person feel secure and loved and, hey, you claimed me. It's like, okay, that's great. That's just a small gesture.
Yeah, we do a lot of hugs in our house, don't we?
We do.
And so we'll just, I'll stand there and arms open and
I just sink in.
you'll just sink in, or Josie will, it's like a magnet.
They all get in, and then the dog comes around. And he'll put his paws up on one of us, like, pick me up too.
But you have to create a culture of that.
Yes.
In your home.
Yes.
And so anyway, so we've talked about words, we've talked about physical affection. Here's another thing, and this is starting to sound a lot like the love languages.
It is. I was noticing that.
Do one small act of service, right? So Christ didn't just love, he served, right?
Yes.
He gave. And so do an act of service that will lighten their load or show, attentiveness.
One thing so I've noticed that you do this. Most nights you do this, and I have not asked you to, but one thing that I've noticed that, after a long day, I've cooked or done whatever, and we try to get the kids to do the dishes, but I kind of make one last sweep of the kitchen. But when I see that you've made coffee for the next day, you've made it at night.
Oh, I set it up and put the timer on.
Oh, it lightens my load. That's the best. I mean, it's a sweet. I don't know that you might not even realize that was an act of service toward me.
I do. I'm self-sacrifice. Yes.
But it does. It's like, that's one less kitchen thing I have to do today.
Oh,
it means a lot. Yeah.
I know that you also don't like the food in the strainer in the sink, and so I'm trying to notice that and do that. But I think that's huge. Just listen. You want guys, back to the sex thing, back to the connection thing. Take something off your wife's plate that's a pain in the butt to her, and be responsible for it. Do it, right? Don't be like Raymond and get a third checkbook to cover your mistakes. But man, it helps so much.
Yep. Well, and the fourth thing is maybe surprise each other in just simple ways. It's maybe leave a note or hey, I was at the grocery store. I got your favorite snack. And you're like, oh, we never have that in the house. But it's like just thinking of the other person or some kind of spontaneous plans. I know yesterday, you knocked off work early. You had an early day and you came in a little bit early and you're like, the rest of the day I'm taking off. And I was like, oh, Really?
The kids were gone. They were going
Yeah.
to be gone the rest of the day and weren't going to be back till like 9:30 that night.
And we were like, wow, okay. So we just had an impromptu date, which has been forever since we've been able to do something like that. And it
Like a
was
good long
a good long
half-day
day, a
date.
half day date. I mean, and when you used to be on staff at our church, you had all day on Fridays, and the kids would be at school all day, and that was our whole day date, and it was
Yeah.
so great. We had about 6 hours, and I felt like we had that yesterday, and it was
Yeah.
just very refreshing, and it was just a
Mhm.
small gesture, but it meant a lot. It was a big gesture.
Mhm. You know, Josie did surprise me in a simple way. I was recalling to her the animal crackers
Yep.
with the icing on top, and
Mhm.
when I was a kid, how those were so good. And she was at the Dollar General, and she brought me home some
I
animal
know.
crackers.
That was
It
sweet.
was really sweet. So
Yep.
surprise them in simple ways. So we've talked about words that pursue, tiny moments of physical affection, one act of or acts of service, surprising them in a simple way. And then here's the fifth one. Invite God into the little moments,
Mm.
right? So pray together, express gratitude, share scripture, and I think that's an easy thing.
Mhm.
Is share what God taught you in your time with Him that day.
Yeah.
You don't have to take them back through the whole Bible study, or if you listen to a podcast, you know
Yeah.
that taught you something spiritual. Just say, "Hey, man, let me share with you, you know what God taught me," or text them,
Mhm.
you know, a scripture verse, or
Mhm.
even as simple as if this isn't a habit, you sit down to eat dinner, grab each other's hand, and men lead out and saying the blessing. If
Mhm.
that's not a habit,
Mhm.
and create those, invite God into those little moments, right?
Yeah.
Because spiritual intimacy really does sustain emotional, physical intimacy. Spiritual intimacy draws your heart together.
Mhm.
And so when you read the Word of God together, when you study the Word of God together, when you share those spiritual moments, it connects your heart
Mhm.
and together. So that's really powerful.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's one of those things that if you can do these little things, I mean, and maybe try something from each of those categories, maybe try all five of those, but even one, just start
Mm-hmm.
and just maybe choose one gesture and do it consistently. Like
Mm-hmm.
lean it. So you mentioned that this is starting to sound a lot like the love languages, and it is. And I mean, almost everything we talked about, I think we hit every category: words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, gifts, and even quality
Mm-hmm.
time is in there. And if you know your spouse's love language, pick one from the category that's their language.
Mm-hmm.
Try to lean into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would be one good thing that would mean a lot to your spouse that you can think of that is in that category? That's something that maybe because your words of affirmation was one thing I could do that would encourage you or that would spark something between us because just
Mm-hmm.
because I notice it or because I say it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the small things.
Yeah, and consistency wins over intensity.
Every time.
So if you might be like, well, I did something last week and it didn't help. Well, okay, one time,
Sure.
just consistency over time is what creates change.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this quote: "Small hinges swing big doors."
Oh, that's good.
And that's so true in here, right? The small, consistent action done over and over really can create big change in a marriage relationship.
Well, and it's that same way that Christ's love is just so steady and consistent. Even when we pull away, He pursues us. That's
Mhm.
what we need in our marriage relationship too. That constant pursuit of each other, and consistently, and even in small ways, just pursuing the other person to say, "Hey, you're still my guy."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just as a reminder as we wrap up, romance doesn't require perfection.
Mm-mm.
It requires pursuit,
Mm-hmm.
and just the pursuit sometimes will be appreciated and will spark what you need. And so think real quick, what of those five gestures would speak love to your spouse?
Mm-hmm.
And go on and get that in your mind and do that today. So we want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Hey, listen, if you want to connect with us and help us, let us help you connect with the Lord and your spouse, then you can do that on all the social platforms, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and especially YouTube. Go there, like and subscribe to our channel. You'll get that marriage coaching video in every week. And listen, thanks so much for joining us today.
We are all